Welcome back, everybody, to the Learning Can't Wait podcast. I am thrilled to introduce to you our next guest. We have Dr. Malcolm Jones II, the Assistant Superintendent of Forest City School District. Welcome, Dr. Jones.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. We're here in the middle of Arkansas's school district summer. Is that correct?
Yes, we just finished the past school year, and right now we're planning for the upcoming school year, whether it be professional development or helping teachers secure licenses. So we're working year round.
Yeah. What I love about this time of year for school and district leaders is that it gives us a good opportunity to talk about what went really well and what they're thinking about for the future. It's like a time for deep reflection, which is a great time to have you on as a podcast guest. So thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Not a problem.
Dr. Jones, I'd love to start off by asking you, how did you come to be the personal and professional version of yourself?
Wow. When I think about that question, that is a thought-provoking question. I would have to start with my parents. My dad was a 30-year educator, math teacher. My mom worked for General Motors, but I think about the foundation that they gave me with the standards that they had for my behavior, my work ethic, and my academics. I was just a young child. I can remember being in first and second grades, and in first and second grade, and I wasn't performing that well in the classroom, but I loved football and baseball. And they laid the standard down that if you're not going to perform academically, then you're not going to play football or baseball. So I think that was that foundation, giving me that foundation where they laid the standard down for academics being important was profound for me. And just life in general. I was a college athlete. Anytime you participate in athletics, athletics, there's so many lessons that you can glean from athletics, the work ethic, the discipline. It parallels life so much because you have some ups and downs, and you have to learn how to handle those ups and downs and keep progressing forward. So I think that would be the best way for me to answer the question that you asked me.
It sounds like you had the home environment that really instills in you the importance of schooling and academics, but then you continued that drive, as you mentioned, through college athletics. I have to ask, which sport did you wind up playing? Was it football or baseball?
Well, I played football for Alcorn State University.
All right.
And I loved baseball, and the defensive coordinator for Alcorn State University at the time, his name was Willie McGowan, tried to get us to myself and my roommate to play baseball, but we felt like it was just too much. That would be too much on us. We wouldn't have a life. We wouldn't have an off season, so we decided not to play. But I really enjoyed the game, but reflecting as many surgeries as I had from the game, maybe I should have played baseball.
It's amazing when you can be a multi-sport athlete. Not easy for everyone. I'm curious though, Dr. Jones. So obviously you learned the importance of a good education early on. What led you to working in and leading schools and districts? How did you get to become the position that you are at Forest City?
It's amazing because I had no intent on doing anything that I've done in my career. My dad, like I said earlier, was a math teacher, and I would always ask my dad for money, and he would I don't have any money. Ask your mom. And the thought that was cemented in my head was, man, Dad never has money. Why on earth would I want to be a teacher? So when I finished playing football at Alcorn State University, I did a grad assistantship where I started coaching, and I was working on my master's in biology at that time. I was really trying to find myself and figure out what it was that I wanted to do, and ended up finishing my master's, and I got a chance to coach. I wanted to remain around the game. And the only way that you could remain around the game in Mississippi and Tennessee and Arkansas and places like this, you had to teach in addition to coaching. So I started in Memphis, Tennessee, and I began coaching. I was teaching physical science and biology at Treadwell High School. And man, I was exposed and engaged with the young men of that community, of that school, and I saw the need for mentorship and structure that these guys had, and it really drew me in. I was sold at that point. Um, and I went through my coaching career, and my goal was to teach them the same principles that my parents taught me, that academics are important. You find so many student athletes and even coaches that only focus on the importance of athletics. And athletics is temporary. And it was my goal to teach every athlete the importance of academics and finding your path in life. And just like in Forest City, we have so many pathways for students to be successful. If they want to be successful, they can become anything that they want to be. We have kids that make 30s on the ACT. We have kids that go and get LPN certifications before they leave this school district. We also have kids that have gotten their CDL license. We had one of the first programs where students were able to get their CDL license and graduate from high school at the same time. So it's always been my goal to really show kids that you have to get some type of credential. Everybody's not going to college, but you have to find your pathway to be successful. And that's what really got me into education. And once I coached my son his senior year, I was burnt out on coaching. And the great thing about what my parents instilled in me, I have a diverse skill set, and I can do more than coach.
Right.
So it was my dad would always tell me, son, you're not going to want to be walking up and down those sidelines all your career. So you need to make sure you get the credentials in order to transition up the totem pole once you finish coaching. So he encouraged me to get my specialist in school administration. I did that. And so I just made the next transition into education by becoming an assistant principal under my former teammate, Coach Lynn Lang, and it took off from there. So that's what's brought me to this point now.
You mentioned a little bit about Forest City and some of the things that make it amazing, but as you shared with me before the call, Forest City has undergone a significant transformation. Paint us a picture of where you were, 5, 10 years ago, and how you've accomplished such a transformational amount of change to really uplift the community and be a beacon for incredible education opportunities for kids.
Well, I would say that Dr. Tiffany Hardrick, who's the superintendent, is a visionary. She had a vision for what she wanted this district to be, and she has brought that to fruition. This is a school district where um, people may think with this demographic, students can't learn, students can't perform, but she's put all the systems in place and the support and the wraparound for students to be successful. When I think about this district, you have some amazing professionals that really put in the work and go beyond the call of duty to really make sure that students have an opportunity to be successful. Um, just recently, our elementary schools were rated a C. Our junior high was rated a B. And, right now we're still working on our high school, but in demographics like these, that with our similar demographics, most of those districts are failing. And this district is a success due to her leadership.
I love that. I love that. And so often we know that great school districts have to have great leadership in order to be successful. And the other component of this is having great teachers who really think about instruction, the quality of instruction, the rigor of instruction in their classrooms. And you've held nearly every role within a school. How has that shaped your approach to leadership today, Dr. Jones?
Well, when you've come up through the ranks, you really know how difficult the job is. That I don't think the general public realizes when teaching is done right, how difficult and complex it really is. So that really helps me to empathize with those teachers, with those principals, uh, with the difficult task that they have ahead of them. So it really helps me um, when I'm leading and supporting other educators.
You know, there's another topic that you're really passionate about. Congratulations, Dr. Jones. You just published your first book last month, which was, or actually 2 months ago in April. Is it your first book? Actually, let me clarify that. Is it your first book?
Yeah, that's my first book.
Okay. Your first of many, I'm sure. But you published a book entitled AI, the AI powered administrator, a practical guide for modern school districts and school and district leaders. Why did you write this book, and what have you learned in this technology first world we live in that you feel like is really important for others to understand?
Well, AI is the next big thing. It is going to transform education like you've never seen it before. Our kids have access to it. Our educators have access to it. And I began playing around with AI. I went to a conference and I just started using it uh, to help me with a few tasks. And I went down a rabbit hole and I found out the power that it has. And I'm like, man, this is like a co-pilot. This is like a mentor in your pocket. If there's anything that you cannot do, then you can go to Chat GPT or Poe or DeepSeek or Perplexity and get it to assist you. And when you really learn how to utilize it as a tool, it's going to enhance you, it's going to empower you, it's going to make you better. Now, and I'm working on some other books right now because AI is going to transform schools. You know, you know how we are in education. Change, nobody wants change. And right now, we're going to try to keep AI out of schools. It's not going to work because the kids have access to it. So what we're going to have to start doing is really redesigning the way that we teach. Um, we can't just act like that it doesn't exist and give the same assignments. Um, you may want a kid to write an essay, but Chat GPT will write an essay on a particular topic in 2 minutes or a minute. So you're going to have to redesign these assignments based on what you want them to do, knowing they have access to AI, and AI can help us redesign, which is not a big thing. But that handbook is used to help administrators in every task that they possibly have.
How has the buy-in been in Forest City to the idea of embracing AI for kids and also as educators in classrooms and in districts and schools?
Well, we have not addressed it from the kid standpoint. We were giving some assessments, some biweekly assessments, and we found out that kids were using AI. So that makes you reevaluate your systems to make sure that we can get some real hard data from the students. Because if we're getting false data, we can't be successful.
Right. The assessment data means nothing.
Right. So from the teacher standpoint, though, we've infused and implemented it, and the teachers have been able to create lessons, engaging lessons. They've been able to differentiate lessons. Uh, they've been able to scaffold lessons. I mean, anything. Excuse me, that's my sensor up there. And anything that they need to do as a teacher, AI can help them. So we've been implementing and infusing it, and I think it's been accepted pretty well.
You know, as someone who talks to many school leaders and district level leaders about AI and how they see it on the horizon. It sounds like you are really leading with intention in your own district and thinking about how can we make teachers' lives easier and make them more effective at meeting kids where they are. It really speaks to this notion, not just of being a technologist, but also of being a real equity driven type lens in your leadership, because by embracing AI, you have the ability to reach every kid and give them what they need, not just teach to the middle. And I know that this concept of really driving your work based and grounded in equity and intention and sustainability has been a central premise to your own career. Can you talk a little bit about how your work with even restorative justice principles at the district level have been really central to your leadership style, and what impact you've seen that on your community?
Well, I'll tell you this. Now, I came from an athletic background. I came from a pretty rigid home life. So discipline was very rigid, old school. And I had that same mindset um, as a principal when I first began, and even as an assistant principal. If an offense was committed, my first solution was suspension. And only by education did my mindset change. So, I read a lot, and I was exposed to restorative discipline. And what restorative disciplines to Ed basically was shared with me. Well, what I learned from it was that you have to teach behavior. All these kids are coming out of these different houses, have a different idea about what's right and what's wrong. And with restorative justice, you give them an opportunity to learn about what's right and wrong, what they could have done differently. And you also give them an opportunity to repair the harm that they've caused. When I tell you that transformed the school that I was leading, um, whether it be a cell phone violation, or a kid vandalized something, even fights in some cases. You really have to give kids an opportunity to reflect on what they did and what they could have done differently. And you also need to give them an opportunity to see what would the consequence in the real world be. Just, if I get to fighting, I may get a disorderly conduct charge. That charge could lead to me having to pay for a lawyer. I have to miss time off work. You have to really paint a picture about the behavior and try to replace that behavior with new behavior. But the only way that you can do that is with knowledge. And we have to educate our kids. And at the same time, you got to, give them a chance to make things right.
There are still a lot of schools that are stuck in those rigid practices that you named at the top of your response here. And I think that when I was becoming an educator and I was learning about restorative justice practices, I learned that behavior is basically an unmet need, right? So it's something that a child needs to learn, or a need that needs to be fulfilled. And I can't tell you that it's always easy to view it that way when you're in the moment. And I'm sure you've experienced this. Sometimes it feels like a personal attack when a student is acting out. And if you can get in the habit, I think, of being consistent in your response to students that are in crisis, you see that change. And it sounds like you've seen that change yourself. And bringing a community forward to really embrace that is so vital to students' long-term success.
Yeah, and it's so much that you learn in restorative discipline.
Mm.
Relationships, the importance of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard for a child to disrespect someone that they have a real relationship with. And my background is science, and I was reading how the brain learns, and the brain in that particular book, it talks about the importance of relationships. We all say, oh, relationships are important, but when we talk about the science of it, your brain scans your environment. It's looking for physical threats, psychological threats, or whatnot. If a child has a issue with you, or you have an issue with the child, that child sees you as a threat. With you being seen as a threat, their body is releasing cortisol into their body, which puts them in fight or flight mode. And when your brain is in fight or flight mode, your frontal cortex shut down where all the thinking occurs.
Yeah.
So if we have a bunch of kids sitting in seats in fight or flight and their frontal cortex is shut down, the purpose of us being at school for learning to take place has been thrown out of the window. So it's super important. And you really have to explain this to teachers, because some teachers, and I've had this same mindset as a teacher, it's my way or the highway.
Mhm.
You do as I say.
The power struggle's real.
Yeah, but when you break this down to them to help them understand that you really have to build a relationship and they can't see you as a threat,
Right.
because we really want learning to take place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that relationship piece is big, and I learned that also from studying restorative discipline.
And I mean, personally, I just think school's a lot more fun when you're teaching and leading and have a relationship with the kids that are in your community. I think it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Dr. Jones, as we mentioned, you're at the end of the school year and you're looking forward to the 25-26 school year starting up shortly. Not too shortly. You're still going to get to enjoy your summer break, but what are some goals and hopes you have for this upcoming school year that you're looking forward to see in action?
Well, one of my goals, I've been assigned to the high school in this school district to turn that piece around. And I'm looking forward to analyzing my culture and climate survey data from the high school, from the staff and students, to basically identify what the issues are, what the perceptions are, concerns, and creating some SMART goals moving forward to turn that school around. Also looking forward to, I'm looking forward to seeing the assessment data from this past school year, because we felt like we did a great job and it's going to be better, even better than last year. But just continuing to build off of the momentum that we have uh, at the time, and just keep getting better at what we do, being lifelong learners.
Yeah, no, that's important work right there that you're naming. And turnaround work is particularly challenging, right? Because you have the way a school has operated and the mindsets and habits and systems may not be working for the community, or likely aren't working for the community. And you have to overcome that. So excited to hear how that plays out and what sort of changes you implement that are really impactful, and actually what you decide to keep too, because it doesn't mean you throw the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't always want to get rid of everything. You want to be really thoughtful about what changes you make and how you make them.
Right. And I'm very competitive and I don't believe in losing. So
There's that sports attitude coming back again.
yeah, hey, look, we will turn it around. We
Yeah.
will win.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. I'm excited to follow that journey this upcoming school year. Dr. Jones, my final question for you today is just, what advice would you give a teacher starting their career?
Man, I have several pieces of advice. The biggest thing that you need to do, or the I would say, is get a mentor, a successful, seasoned mentor that has taught. This is the cheat code in life. A lot of times people want to travel the journey alone, but you really need to get somebody that's done the work already. And the last piece, is surrounded around the being a lifelong learner. You need to study 1 hour a day, no matter what it is that whatever profession it is. If you want to keep your iron sharp, you need to be studying 1 hour a day. You need to be reading, uh, staying current, and continue to educate yourself. You may have your degrees and your credentials, but it's a never-ending process to stay sharp.
You have a recommendation for a good book they could read about AI if they want to bring it to their classrooms?
Well, yeah, I have several. I have several AI-powered books for teachers, administrators, school district employees, uh, and also a great book that I'm reading right now. Well, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, tell us the title of it for those that are just listening to the podcast.
Oh, it's High Expectations Teaching by
Mhm.
John Spear.
I love it.
Beautiful book.
Dr. Jones, it has been a real pleasure talking to you today, hearing about what got you to this point and what you continue to do to drive forward. You've given both visionary kind of vision setting for us, but also really practical advice for schools and leaders in the classroom. So thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. I have enjoyed it.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who tuned in today.